Hello everyone and welcome back for day 4. So today we're going to be hitting some shoulders, biceps, and triceps. So if you've been with me thus far on my split, we've covered the whole body. We've hit chest, back, and legs, and we're going to finish off with some shoulders, biceps, and triceps. So I've selected 3 exercises from the shoulders, which between the 3 are going to hit the entirety of the shoulder. It's going to work the front, medial, and posterior part of the shoulder. We're going to do a little bit of traps and then some biceps and triceps at the end. So follow along. Here we go. Alright, so off we go on another iron adventure. I started this one off with a standing barbell press, grabbing the bar at about a shoulder width distance, really keeping my core tight and engaged, my glutes tense as I push that bar directly overhead and return it down to just under my chin on a slow and controlled tempo, about 2 seconds on the way down, and I explode up. So it's crucially important to really keep your abs tense and engaged, and that prevents your lower back from rounding excessively. And you're just going to protect your lower back. The lower back is pretty fragile, so if you're overarching too much on this exercise, you could really hurt yourself. Even myself in this set, as you see, as I start to fatigue on the latter reps, I could have done a better job at preventing that arch in my lower back. Alright, so next up I went into a dumbbell lateral raise. Now for this one, as you can see, I have my thumb on top of the dumbbell, and I do this for a reason. I do this because I find when I just grab the dumbbell with my thumb underneath, I really over engage my forearms. When I do it this way with my thumb over the dumbbell, I find that my forearms are really taken out of the equation. They're not as active, and I can really feel a lot of activation in my shoulder, in that medial head of my shoulder. So just a tip there for you guys. You're probably not going to be able to use as much weight when you do it with this method, but I find it way more effective. So I'm leaning forward a little bit, and I'm just raising those weights up. Now you don't want to go up too high, because there's a point at which you go too high and your trap muscles really take over the exercise. So I'm very conscious of this as I raise the weights, trying to keep all the tension on that medial head of my shoulder and preventing my trap muscles from just shrugging the weight up. Alright, so next up I performed a superset here to work the posterior part of my shoulders along with the trap muscles. So what I did is I laid on a bench here and I grabbed the dumbbells and I turned my hands into a pronated grip. So that means my pinkies were turned up towards the ceiling as I was performing this exercise. You could do it with a neutral grip with your palms facing each other, but when I do that I find I work my back a lot more. The rhomboid muscles, those ones near the middle of the back, get over engaged. So when I do it this way, I feel mostly just the rear part of my shoulders. So I prefer this way when I'm trying to isolate my shoulders. So I have a slight bend in my arms and I'm raising those weights towards the ceiling with the intention of my pinkies pointing up towards the ceiling, trying to give a slight pause and coming all the way down. So you can really see the back of my shoulder here is on fire as I'm doing these. On these I like to use light to moderate weight and do a lot of reps. I found that to be very effective at targeting and growing the rear delts. Part 2 of the superset here, I did some barbell shrugs to hit those trap muscles. So pretty simple one here. I'm going to grab the bar at about a shoulder width distance, and I'm thinking of bringing my shoulders up towards my ears as high as they can go, and then there's that intention of pinching the shoulder blades together just for that extra squeeze at the top. Slow and controlled. I went for a 2-second hold at the top of the motion, and then I got a nice deep stretch at the bottom. Really great exercise. For me, this is the king of all exercises when it comes to working your trap. Alright, so with the shoulders done here, it's time to hammer those biceps and triceps. First exercise was a standing barbell curl. I grabbed the bar at about a shoulder width distance. I like even a little bit inside. Slow and controlled here. I'm curling the weight up, coming down on a 2-second negative, not swinging out of the bottom. I take the bar to a complete stop before I reinitiate the repetition. So no momentum here. That really just defeats the purpose. You're using assistance muscles to get the weight up and not the working muscles, which in this case is the bicep. So I like to even let my elbows drift forward a little bit and I get a peak contraction of the biceps. Yes, the shoulder is going to get involved to some extent, but by letting my elbows drift forward a little bit, I can get that extra little squeeze at the top of the range. Alright, so I supersetted those barbell curls with lying tricep extensions. So I'm lying on the bench and I'm letting my elbows drift back a few inches. As you can see here, they're not pointing up towards the ceiling. They're kind of back towards the wall behind me. So when I do it this way, I can place a really big stretch on those triceps and keep them under tension throughout the entirety of the motion. So try to keep those elbows back, and as you straighten your arms, don't let them push forward. Imagine there's a wall preventing your arms from pushing forward. So for the second superset here for my arms, I went into a hammer curl coming across my body. So the objective here is to work that brachialis muscle, which is a muscle that actually sits in between your bicep and tricep. And when you develop this muscle, you build a lot of thickness from your bicep when perceived from the front. So that's something I'm trying to really work on. So I've been doing a lot of these lately, just bringing up the thickness of my bicep. Alright, so for part 2 of this superset, I went into a close grip bench press with the barbell. So I'm gripping the bar inside the width of my shoulders. You want a narrower grip on this. This is going to help emphasize the triceps and not the chest. Also, as I'm coming down, I'm thinking about keeping my elbows pretty close to the side of my body. I'm trying not to let them flare out too much, as this would engage too much of my chest. I'm trying to really isolate my triceps and let them do most of the work on this one. Alright, so there you have it. That was the workout. I hope you enjoyed it. And follow along with this split from the first workout, which was legs, all the way to this now. We covered the whole body, so try this one out. Now for the next series of videos in response to this global health pandemic that we're all going through right now, I know a lot of gyms are closed and you don't have access to your usual equipment in gyms. I'm going to be creating workouts that you can do from the comfort of your own home using just body weight, no equipment needed. So that's coming up very soon. Stay tuned. Take care, guys.